Okay, this is the day after. This is about 10 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to wait till the sun got up a little bit so we could see clearly what's happened. And we ended up getting about 8 to 8.5 inches of rain yesterday. Most of that occurred between the hours of about 10 o'clock in the morning and about 4:30 in the afternoon. And we were supposed to get about 3 to 3.5 inches. And Lady Pants is with me right here. She's going to be my helper doggette today. And as you can see, everything looks a little bit different. Sandy soil is not the best soil in the world in certain regards, but in one regards it is, which is getting rid of water. And so at the height yesterday, this entire nighttime area was flooded, as was on the video yesterday, except for a little bit over near the gate and obviously near the house here. And so all of the run was flooded yesterday. As you can see here, let me zoom in a little bit. Maybe. There we go. All right. Was not wanting to zoom for some reason. So as you can see, there's still a little bit of standing water here in the field, but that's obviously a lot better than it was yesterday. And let's come over here. The sisters are none too happy. They decided that they actually did lay 3 eggs yesterday. One was in the morning before all the fun part happened, and 2 of them were about midday, right before it got really bad. And then they got in fight and flight mode and did not lay any eggs for the rest of the day, which I don't necessarily blame them. So this morning, when I came out a little after 7, there were 4 eggs in nesting boxes, which normally does not happen. Normally we might get 1 at that time. And since then we've gotten 2, and I've not checked yet. So we might have some more. Hermione right there, that was the one that just flapped her wings. She's actually starting to molt right now. But it looks like it's a slow molt. She's been molting for, I don't know, about a week or so now. And as you can see, it's only a few feathers at a time. And so at first we thought something was wrong because her neck started looking weird. But nope, it's just molting. And so the run looks good. Obviously the ground is still moist, but all of the water, all the standing water looks like it's gone. That still had water in it this morning. There was water over there, and the big crater in the far back over there had water. All right, there's Samantha right there. Samantha has gone to be a good chicken after her mother experience. That was Lacey right there. She's my clarinet chicken. So let's go in, look real quick, and see if there's any eggs. All right, there were no eggs in the boxes, but I wanted to look in here real quick. Saturday, in anticipation, we had gotten some more bedding. There's Rose right there. That is Curious Rose. She's the only one with the rose comb, as you can see right there. And so pretty much wherever we go, she goes. But we added more hemp in here. So we've been adding hemp about every 2 months or so now. And so it's been good. Yeah, for some reason Rose makes what I call a machine gun sound. I have no idea why. So, and there's Lacey right there. Hey Lacey, how you doing? Huh? So Lacey is, I think, our smallest chicken. All right, anyway, this video is not about the chickens. So let me close this up and we'll continue. All right, enough about chickens. All right, so yesterday, there was basically a big channel of water that came across here that ended up over near the shed and then went down into the far corner over there. And so obviously all that water is gone. And other good thing about the sandy soil, even though this had probably 3 or 4 inches of water in it, let me put my foot down real quick. I'm pressing my foot down right now, and so it's so hard that you could barely, when Lady Pants gets out of the way, you could barely see my foot indention. And this was completely submerged less than 24 hours ago. So the rain had subsided by about 7 o'clock last night, and the second the rain subsides, then the flooding goes down. And so it was pretty much flooded all the way over to here, but the water never breached to go back this way. It all came across this way and went that way. So this is where our garden was this year. This garden got completely flooded yesterday. There were some rhubarb that Andrea had in here. I think it was over in this area where Sherlock is. And so Andrea wants to try to dig it up and see if the underground part's alive. The above ground part got killed earlier this year. And this is our wormwood there. That actually has survived. Hold on. I know. The dog has almost a ½ acre and he has to be exactly where he's not supposed to be. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna see if we can dig a swale from where the 4-foot fence is on this side, come across here and go all the way to the tree line. Now we got a survey recently which had topos and it had spot elevations. The surveyors, they come out and they do all of their measurement stuff, and then they put it into their computer program, and their computer program will turn around and create what we call topo lines, which are topographic lines. And so since we're so flat here, it's done on a 1-foot increment. If you get into more of a hilly area, it might go to every 2 feet, or even real mountainous areas, it might even go every 5 feet or so. And so basically, let me zoom in, see if I can see it on the camera. All right. All right. There is the foundation base for the tower where the guy wires are. To the east of that a little bit, cannot see it. Maybe that's it right there. There's a flag right there. That's the corner of our property. So that's the high point of our property. That's at about 82 feet MSL, which stands for mean sea level. And so you come across, and let me pan around here, and you come across to the opposite side, which is down here. This was at about, I think it was like 76 feet MSL. And so that averages to about, hold on. All right, sorry about that. There's an Air Force base probably, I don't know, 100, 150 miles to the west of us. So every once in a while they do their training exercises for the military planes over this area. So of course that had to be today. So anyway, short version is from the high side to the low side, there is a slope on the property. It's about 1/16 of an inch per foot, which means every 16 feet horizontal, there's a grade difference of 1 inch, which it is not ideal, but it's better than nothing. So what we're wanting to do is try to keep the same slope when we dig the trench here. So then ideally when the water comes off the field and starts heading to the right over here, it's going to get into this trench, and then the trench is going to funnel the water down to here. Then what we're going to do is, where I'm walking at right now is going to be our garden for this year. We're going to be massively expanding our garden, so instead of about a 20 by 30 area, it's going to be about a 40 by 100 area or even bigger. We'll get into that at a later date, but we're going to take the trench and take it all the way down into this area. Nothing pretty much grows here anyway except for weeds, and as you can see, there's water ponding over here. So then we want to take that trench, and then we're going to take the trench and move it over and take it down to the corner over here. And as you can see, there's still a lot of water ponding right here. So my best guess is, when I was out here yesterday, is all we need to do is be able to funnel the water into an area, and if we can be able to collect it and funnel it faster than what the capacity is, then it can be able to, we can basically channel it and direct it and take it where we want to go. Now, where this is right now, all of this was underwater yesterday. I would say the depth of the water in here was probably at least 8 inches to a foot. And over in the corner over here, and you can actually see water right now. See if I can get to it. I don't have my boots on. Is, hold on, let me see if I can get a better position. Okay, here we go. That is one of the trees that we had cut earlier this year. That's where they dumped it. And so what I want to do is I want to dig a channel and go through here, since there's already a channel anyway, and start taking it out that way towards the road. The ground slopes away from us, so all we have to do is just hopefully get a little bit of a channel cut, and then this big massive water area that we had yesterday hopefully can be diminished completely, or it can be minimized. Because the good thing about the water is once it gets down there, it basically rises like a pond. So if we have an overflow valve, then it can be able to dump into it. And then not only that, if we channel it, if we grade it properly, then we won't have these isolated wet areas, because we'll have the high area back there sloping down to a low area over here. And it should not take a significant slope to do that. It should be a very minor slope. Now where I'm going right now, all of this was underwater yesterday, because the water was coming all the way from the top of the property across where the chicken coop is and down over to here. And the water, and it's still a little on the squishy side, but the water was probably about 4 inches deep right here. And I don't know if it actually got into the shed, but the water was actually underneath the shed there in the tent. On Andrea's mom's shed, water got about halfway up those blocks. So that was the main reason why I didn't want to have the wood foundation on the ground, because it would have been really close, if not breaching the inside of the shed. But with the blocks there, then it was good. Now, the other big area I wanted to look at is over here. This is the north side of Andrea's mother's property. And I don't know if you can see it right now, but this is where the water was moving. So the water here was actually sloping down. And then the water over here is where it's still ponding. So what we need, the other thing we need to do, and this is going to be more finesse than anything else, is we need, since this is the low spot right here, which is the corner of her house, this is the low spot, we're going to have to dig out a French drain and take it all the way from here and take it all the way out to the back and then dump it out the back over there. And if we can do that, we should be able to minimize or eliminate the water ponding that's over here, because we had these two downspouts that was dumping water in this spot. All of this area over here, a little bit of the water from the field worked its way over here, not a whole lot, I would say like 10%. And then we had water ponding over here, and then we also had water ponding over there. This I'm not really too concerned about. We actually just got a soils test that we did in this area, and the soil pH here is high respectively, because in the field it's around 5.5, maybe a little bit more, but over here it's about 6.5. I think it was 6.6 in this little area over here. And so originally we were wanting to put the blueberries over here, but not with the 6.6 pH, because it's way too high for blueberries. They're sitting in about 5.5 pH right now and love it. But the problem is that's where our garden wants to go. Now, yesterday, the ditch here was mostly full. The culvert was at least half full of water, and the water was just shooting down and going that way. And so the ditch was doing its job. The ditch never breached a ditch anywhere, so the ditch did its job. Probably one thing I'm going to do is, it's higher right here than it is over here, because you can still see some standing water right there. And so we'll just cut a little trench and take it over to the ditch. This I don't think is going to be too bad, because that looks like the low spot right there. So if we can just get a trench and have it go over to here, then that'll take care of that water problem. And then over on the northwest side over here, this all looks good. This did not really pond up a whole lot, so it was actually probably the least flooded out of the entire area. The good thing was the well never got flooded on the surface, so that's good. And but yeah, except for right where Andrea's mother's house is, and obviously down at the bottom, other than the ground being waterlogged, it all looks pretty good. And there's one other thing I was wanting to talk about. Okay, so the guys found me. Actually standing on top of our septic tank right now. Because of the grade, or I should say lack thereof grade, for the drain field, both our septic tank and Andre's mother's septic tank are actually, the tops are actually above ground. So what they did was the dirt that they used to dig out the septic tank, they actually put around the septic tank. The only other thing to do is just have the dirt the way it is and just have it be exposed, which nobody wants. So okay, so that was less than 24 hours after all this was flooded. The good thing is, at least as far as our water runoff is concerned, that's the high point, about where the top of the base of the tower guy wires are. That's about the high point here, because the field on the other side of the road, or other side of the swale over there, that's not affected by us as far as the water runoff. So it's pretty much just all the water in our field here. So it's probably a lot more daunting than what I think it's going to be, but it should be fairly simple to reduce or eliminate the problem. I say simple, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but theoretically just dig a swale here to encourage the water to go that way. Even if it breaches a little bit, if we can get 50%, 70%, 80% to go that way instead of coming into the chicken coop area, then I'll call that a massive success. Because one thing with our climate around here, events like this, they do happen. You know, because we had, I think it was Hurricane Idalia or whatever, earlier this year. We had 12 inches of rain in 15 hours. When we lived down in Murrells Inlet, which is about an hour south of us, it's south of Myrtle Beach, we lived about 4 miles from the ocean, and it ended up, both Hurricane Matthew and Hurricane Florence, we got like 17 inches of rain, all in a little more than a 24-hour period. So getting massive amounts of water is not unusual for us. So it's just being able to deal with it. And then again, with the sandy soil, it will dissipate fairly quickly, and then it'll also dry out very quickly. So that's another problem. So anyway, done rambling. Everything looked really bad yesterday, but as you can tell, it's a lot better today.